to Hardcover News. Today we'll be discussing the progress of the LGBT community and the discrimination within it. I'm Mariana.
And I'm Caleb.
And we bring you Life in the LGBT community.
What does it mean to me? I mean, that's just who I am. I mean, if you're labeling it bisexual since I was a very young age, I think I figured it out. The first person I was ever attracted to was a girl. And I didn't understand, like, what any of that meant necessarily. But it was very prevalent, and it was something that was just there, and I knew it was there. And I am an incredibly headstrong person, so I just refused to ever be weird about it. It was just who I was.
Being an ally means to me standing up for other people, even though they might identify as something different than me.
What it means to me is letting people accept who they is, and it's to like be proud of who you are.
Some strides, definitely in the right direction, as far as the countercultural groups all coming together and blanketing themselves under one sign, like LGBTQ community.
It's come really far in the past 20 years because almost recently gay people were allowed to be married and stuff like that, and that didn't happen like almost 10 years ago, and that was pretty much shunned upon.
Well, it's been a lot. It's gone real far during the past years. I've been noticing it. Over the years I've been alive, because over the time it increased it, and it's like a lot of people coming out. A lot of people are fighting on what they believe in, what is right. They want to like on making people accept who they is.
I mean, there's just a lot of progress that still has to be made. It's come a long way. It's not as divided. Like in the 90s, I remember lesbian groups being their group, bisexual groups being their group, mainly gay white men having their group. And I don't feel like it's as greatly as divided as it once was, but there's still a lot of progress to be done.
I do think we still have more work to do because people are still, like, there's still discrimination upon the LGBT community because, like, people put their own beliefs before the feelings of others.
The only thing I think we should do is just follow your own way. If you don't agree with it, do your thing. If you do agree with it, do your thing. And just follow your own path on what you believe in, this or not.
Now, despite the remarkable progress that on gaining the rights and respect the LGBT community deserves, there is still some discrimination outside the community, and surprisingly, even within it. Especially discrimination towards those who identify as non-binary gender spectrum.
Wait, what is the non-binary gender spectrum?
I'm glad you asked, Mariana. Gender is what you identify as in your mind, what you feel you are, while sex is your biological sex or the parts that you were born with. These parts can either be the same or different from your gender. If they are the same, you are known as cisgender, or where both your identity and your biological sex are the same. On the other hand, if they are opposite from each other, you are known as transgender, or where you have body parts of a male, but you identify as a female, or you have body parts of a female, but you identify as a male. Now, there is a lot of genders in between the traditional male and female genders. For example, a demigirl is someone who partially identifies as a woman, but not wholly. Another example of a non-binary gender, or a gender that is outside of the traditional male and female genders and known as genderless or genderqueer.
Well, now that makes more sense. And I've heard a lot about people who have identified as genderqueer or bigender and are accused of saying that their identity isn't real, that they have to be one or the other.
You're right. That is true. Although, it's important not to confuse gender identity with sexual orientation, because even bisexuals face a similar situation. They have to pick on one or the other, and they are merely curious. But that's a different topic altogether.
Discrimination on social media and on the news, on people talking about a certain person because they claim what they is. They probably saying it's not right, or some people are saying it is right, and whatever. They putting religious and anything like that. Like it's a part. That's certain. That's reason for discrimination like that. So I've seen it so far.
I haven't, but I know people who have, and like in school and stuff.
And when you're bisexual, yeah, I've lost friends over it. I've had family members who don't want me around their children. The other thing that I didn't mention before when you asked me that, though, is like there's a level that happens interacting, especially like I find when I interact with heterosexual men, where like it becomes like this like topic of conversation that doesn't necessarily need to be talked about as much as they want to, because then you're a fantasy.
Well, yeah, I'm aware of it because like I've been around people who've been like that, and I be seeing on social media, and a lot of people and really religious people who really do things like that.
Yes. Recently, I learned about that.
Discrimination in and of itself will always happen anytime anybody steps outside of the lines that we're supposed to that society tells us that we're supposed to color in. That's always going to be the fact of the matter. As far as what can happen to make it so that doesn't happen any longer within this community, I'm not quite sure. I mean, people's open-mindedness in general in the world just has to change. People have to start recognizing people as one race and not color, sexual orientation, how you identify in the world that you live in. Like that's not the point. It's the character and quality of the human being, not those things.
My advice on what I gotta say on them is like, if you don't agree anything like that, you should just like follow your own path. You should think like it should have nothing to do with you, and whatever you thinking, just like keep your mind to yourself. Don't put yourself into that situation or let's cause more problems for everybody.
I believe that just because you don't understand or you don't know about a certain thing doesn't mean that it doesn't exist. I believe you should put yourself in their shoes, because if someone feels something, it's true. It's their feelings, and regardless of how you feel about it, you should put yourself in their shoes, and
well, I mean, open your mind. Like, that's not your decision. That's not your life to lead. Like, people like to sit around and judge everybody because it makes them feel better. I mean, I think Baldwin said it best. It's like, if people have to say, I'm paraphrasing, and basically it's like, if people are scared and racism and homophobia and all of these other phobias exist because if you have to get over it and you actually have to look at the human race and the things that we've done to one another, all you're left to deal with is pain. People are scared of that. People don't want to deal with that. So it's way easier to judge somebody and make them feel bad because it makes you feel good. It's just simpler. It's easier to wrap your head around. Sitting down and trying to figure out like why somebody says this or why somebody does that is a hard thing to do. And especially if you don't agree with it. If for whatever reason, if it's for religious reasons or your own personal beliefs, opening your mind up to other people and listening, it's a hard thing to do. But that's what has to happen. That's what I would say. Stop putting your finger on it. Like, stop trying to label it.
Thank you, Chicago, for taking this time to watch this program, and please consider others' feelings when it comes to their gender identity, even if they're non-binary. We're all still people.
I'm Caleb.
And I'm Mariana.
And this was Hardcover News.